honor to speak to the graduating class of 2013. None of us would be here tonight if it weren't for the tremendous support of our family and friends. I'd like to thank my wife Michelle and 2-year-old son Benjamin for being there for me through all the late night classes, clinicals, and labs. I just want us to think about how many times you told your significant other when they asked you if you'd go to so-and-so's birthday party, or if you could just help them clean up. My answer was always, sorry baby, I have a midterm, or a paper, or a HESI exam, I have to study. Please join me in a round of applause to recognize all the emotional and financial support of our families. Please also join me in recognizing the dedicated nursing faculty and staff who have worked so hard to turn us into nurses in just 2 short years. Many of whom also work second jobs as nurses as they joined us into the wee hours of the night, only to wake up and do it all over again the next day. So my personal journey into nursing began in an unlikely place. As a former pharmaceutical research technician, I had the fortune to be assigned. Sorry. No way, I'm not going to read this. A project that required the better part of each day working in a cell culture hood for months on end. And for those of you who don't know or have never had the privilege of seeing such a device, a cell culture hood is a large stainless steel box where cells are seated under HEPA-filtered air blowing in your face. There you sit hour upon hour alone under the glare of ultraviolet light while pipetting sterile liquid from one container to the next. One particular afternoon, I thought perhaps I could do more in science while helping others. A month later, while signing papers in the closing of our first house, I lost my job, which serendipitously gave me the final nudge to go back to school, and the rest is history. All of us here have a story like this. Many of us are graduating tonight, have had other careers, which leads me to another recognition I want to make tonight, my classmates. You see, I did the traditional thing right after high school. We all went off to school, lived in dorms devoid of any cleaning or maintenance, were fed in dining halls free of cooking or cleanup, went into a few hours of classes a day, crammed right before our tests, went out 3 or 4 times a week. We didn't work, we didn't take care of sick children, we didn't pay bills, we didn't drive to school in the snow, there were no 100-year hurricanes. This class is one of the hardest working groups of people I've ever met. Most people work at least one job, have families, houses, manage to take very challenging classes that begin and end in 5 weeks. Unlike those graduating as traditional college students who are about to enter the real world, many here tonight are going to finally have a break with only a 40-hour work week. So, in preparing for this speech, I thought long and hard about many of the experiences over these past few years. I remember several hospital clean utility rooms during clinicals after I received my patient assignment where I hid out in fear. I remember stalking the floor technician looking for a Dynamap. And I remember being completely consumed with the care of one very stable patient who rather that I left them alone and go get the real nurse. And then there were the specialty clinical rotations. My mind goes right to one clinical at Trenton Psychiatric Hospital, where on Halloween, this is a true story, where on Halloween, I guess one of the staff had the good sense of humor to show a movie where Robert De Niro plays a psychiatrist suffering from schizophrenia. He goes on a murderous rampage. And I remember fondly, one of the committed patients abruptly yelled out, "He's crazy!" And all the other patients laughed. Then there was the obstetrics rotation, where I believe the staff at the Robert Roselson Hospital was talking about the street without any verse between the hours of 5 p.m. to midnight, Wednesdays and Thursdays, for 3 weeks. Our clinical instructor was a very sweet nurse midwife. Would say optimistically at the end of each night, as we stared at each other for 7 hours in the conference room, hopefully next week we'll see a birth. We finally did. And then this brings me to lab. And I'll never forget the debacle of trying to don sterile gloves and insert a urinary catheter into a hermaphroditic mannequin. It has been a journey. So, let me wrap it up with a more serious note. In many ways, the torch is being passed to us. Nurses consistently ranked as one of the most trusted professions year after year. The public trusts in us to help society's most vulnerable. How many other professions does the customer allow an employee to insert a sharp needle into their vein within a few minutes of meeting them? This trust has been forged by the collective work of hundreds of thousands of nurses who have served before us. It's our obligation to be stewards of the profession as it evolves into ever-expanding roles. We are likely going to be the beneficiaries of changed demographics in our population. There's a large workforce of nurses needed to take care of the baby boomer generation as they age. Also, a large proportion of nurses are approaching retirement age themselves. Tens of millions of Americans will soon have insurance for the first time before healthcare act was passed and repealed. The projected nursing shortage requires skills and great demand. Within the nursing field itself, there's a myriad of different roles, from floor nursing to educator to research and administrator. And if we're ever unhappy with one role, there are opportunities to try out to find our niche. So now, in our last gathering, I'd like to thank our professors and fellow students for providing a friendly and supportive environment for each of us to reach our full potential. And I look forward to seeing all the graduates again in the hospital wearing navy blue. Congratulations.